Carl, so nice to see you.
It's pretty much what Lindsay said in this episode, right?
Any chance I have to reference Billy Madison, I'm going to.
Yeah, you kind of have to at this point. But yeah, who knew? Carl and Lindsay are platonic?
They're besties again.
The rest of the house, unsure.
The rest of the house is a big fat question mark.
Bros and shows. I gotta have me my bros and shows. Bros and shows. Bros and shows. I gotta have me my bros and shows.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Bros and Shows. I'm your co-host, Steele Russell, joined as always by the one and only Summer Goots. What's up, dude?
It's just so nice to watch. This is now, our second straight episode talking about the 4th of July.
Yeah.
And even though it was raining towards the end of this episode for the 4th, I don't think it's going to hold up, but it just looks so warm and nice. Being able to walk around the house in some shorts and some comfy clothes, relaxing, seems so nice.
Do you know what I thought?
What?
All I could think about was, at this exact moment, Dorit is yelling at Sutton across the country.
Oh, that's a really good point. Yeah. I mean, time change considered, but yeah, that's pretty much what's going on. Or at this point, Sutton is just sitting in Dorit's living room with no one else around her studying the map of California.
Yeah, it was just funny to me that it correlated with what we just watched. Because, this is why it's nice to have timelines, because then we can do fun shit like that. Wasn't that fun, guys?
It's
Are we
always
having
fun.
fun yet?
We are having fun. Thank God. And that's the other thing that we saw. Ben Stiller, big fan of Beverly Hills.
What? I mean, I know the answer to this. What are the odds that we get old Benny on this podcast?
Oh, yeah. Very low, but
Slim to none.
Slim to none. I did see a lot of people online talking about it, saying that the creator of Severance, he's not the creator of Severance.
No, he's the director of Severance.
Director, big producer. Sure.
Writer.
Yeah.
Yeah, he helped write it.
I think Dan Erickson or something created it, but still very cool.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. And yes, he's a pivotal creator in Severance. We had a couple people shout out in the DMs and ask us to do Severance.
That would be tough.
I will say this. The more we get comfortable, obviously we've had a whole lot of shows that we're doing now, and we're going to branch out more. That was the whole point of this. We're going to have a larger and larger docket of shows that we're covering. Don't be shocked if we start to work in some of those.
Yep.
But we're trying to get comfortable with our new schedule right now, to the point that we are hiring an editor so that we can keep everything coming out when it's supposed to come out.
So that Steele can get some sleep.
So that I can get some sleep, so that it's done more professionally as well. But the whole goal is to get more expeditious.
Sure, yeah.
So that we get our stuff out on time, so that we can do shows like that. Because at the end of the day, even if a ton of people don't watch it, but we get enough listeners, we just like to cover shows that we enjoy watching. So
Severance would be really hard for me right now anyway, because my strategy and pretty much what I do every time I watch an episode of Severance is look into theories. Look into what other people are talking about. I go to Reddit, I go to TikTok.
Well, you just contradicted yourself.
No, I'm saying that then I would just talk about other people's thoughts.
I understand that,
own.
but I'm saying you also bring a lot to the table in which, so here are theories that are being posited across. I'm saying you have
That's
just
true.
helped us
I would
out.
feel bad though, because they're not my thoughts.
Well, no, but I'm saying compiling them and discussing them on a show is a
That's true.
podcast.
Yeah, all right, that's fair.
Dumbass.
Yeah, I think that Severance in general puts my brain in a blender.
I love Severance. It's an amazing show.
I try not to. There are certain people that I see pop up and I'm like, I don't agree with anything that you're saying. And they've been right a lot of the times, but I just don't like the way that they talk about it.
I agree with
move
that.
on.
No, I understand that. When people are too matter of fact online, I get mad, even when they're right.
Yep.
But yeah, the point is, we will branch out into more scripted shows as well. Like I said, we're just getting comfortable with the new format. We're getting comfortable with the rebrand, and we're getting there. I would say we're through the woods, and now we're on the outskirts. We can see through everything. We're about to emerge on the other side. We're getting all of our ducks in a row.
The other side is quitting our jobs.
Yeah, honestly, it is.
Yeah.
So yeah, we are. We're doing the damn thing. We appreciate
Quit our
the
jobs.
support.
We're going to have 15 episodes a week.
Why not? Why wouldn't
be hanging out.
I know, it'd be fucking great.
And I'd still be working less than I do now.
We could have coffee in the morning.
Oh, dude,
and then
don't get
just
me
fucking
started.
Record.
You know how many times I've imagined that?
It sounds
Coming
so
over
nice.
with a coffee, sitting down, chatting for a bit.
And now we have an editor, so
Oh, yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. We could just hang out, honestly. All right, we're done. Let's play some video games. Let's go back.
Oh my God, we're getting there. We're getting there.
We're getting there.
But anyway, let's talk a little Summer House. And as we know, the end of last week's episode is Carl's arrival to the house. It was an awkward little interaction there by himself with a producer. How do I approach this? To his credit, I think anybody walking into that situation would be like, holy shit. And regardless of the self-help podcast or the motivational podcast that you listen to on the drive from New York City to the Hamptons, I'm not sure anything's going to prepare you to walk into your ex-fiance being pregnant and you're staying there for the summer.
Yep.
So yeah, I get that. But we have him actually go into the house. It's awkward all around.
Yeah, it's awkward all around. I feel like everybody else feels awkward, but he does have support, which is nice. Different. It's not like, for lack of a better reference here, it's not West going in where all of the girls hate him right now.
I have such a funny thing to say about that.
I can't wait for that. But West going into this, and he was oblivious to that. He was thinking, yeah, there might be a little bit of discomfort. No, every girl in the house dislikes you right now because everyone hates you. Ciara. And the guys are trying their best to kind of prop you up, but you are going to be in hell until this gets resolved at some point. Carl walking in there, you know, everybody has known Carl and Lindsay together. So he's going to have not support, like stand out, like, oh, Lindsay, stay out of this. We're going to go talk to Carl.
Right.
But people are going to come over and say hi to you and say it's good to see you.
Yeah. And I think the other part of it is because after we watched last season, we went on a roller coaster of, you know, teams, this, that. We're Team Carl, we're Team Lindsay, we're back and forth. What we landed on was that they never should have been together. It was a disaster. Both of them had missteps along the way.
Yep.
So coming into this summer, I feel like there's going to be some animosity just because of how it went down last summer, but I don't feel like anybody's wrong.
Yeah.
So I feel like you just have to get over the awkward intro phase of like, how is this dynamic going to work? Is it going to be cool and copacetic for the entire summer? Or is this going to be weird? And I think that by getting the initial awkwardness out of the way, you're going to have quote unquote support. And like you said, it's not support, it's just friends in the house for both of them.
Yep.
As long as they can be amicable, which was the question mark. Can they get past everything that happened?
Yeah.
And once they do, it's not like anyone's going to get, like Lindsay's not going to get mad at somebody in the house for being friends with Carl and vice versa.
Yeah, we're not going to get any of that. And I think we maybe, and me personally too, I think I sold Lindsay a little short. We talked about the idea that she could just be so happy with her current relationship with being pregnant that Carl coming into the house wouldn't even really bother her. I think that she was way more pleasant and way more receptive in this episode than I actually anticipated her being based off of what we saw last episode, which was a 25-minute absolute roasting of all the guys that she's dated up until now.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, she's definitely not going to let anything slide. But we didn't see that. So props to Lindsay for all of that. And I think once they get over the hump of, now, you know, we find out that Lindsay's leaving, so she's not going to be there for the 4th of July party. But once we get over the initial hump of Carl's flirting with that girl over there, how does that make Lindsay feel? Is she going to be pissed off? And after what I saw today, I don't think she is. I think she might even take it as like a joke and just laugh at it and be like, oh, there you go. And that's pretty much going to be it.
I see it going one of two ways. One, it's going to not sting. It's not going to be great, but I don't think she's going to react to it because
I think she can ignore it.
Exactly. And the other way is she may end up leaning into it. I could see that where she's like, Carl, that girl's cute. Where they just go, because let's not forget the saga of Lindsay and Carl. They dated a long time ago. That didn't work out. They were best friends, very close for a very long time. And then they gave it another shot, got engaged. That whole thing happened. I would not be shocked if they find their way back to some kind of semblance of a friendship, especially during the summer. I mean, the pregnancy is almost the best icebreaker ever because there will be no tension as far as like relationship or sexual. It's not going to be like that.
Right.
So it does give them the opportunity to have some sort of friendship, not blossom from this, but I'm taking it a step further from just being amicable and in the same house, but actually being able to enjoy each other's company to a certain extent. I wouldn't be shocked if we see that.
Yeah, I agree with that. Two things that I do want to talk about before we get into it.
Okay.
That we need to notify the public about. One,
PSA.
A question.
A public shooter announcement.
I think we're going to see Danielle at some point.
She'll probably pop in.
So, because the only reason I say that is because Bravo posted some shit, and you know how much I don't like the astrology charts. They posted everybody in the house's astrology chart, and the last slide was Danielle.
Oh, was it?
So I don't know if that was just like paying homage to like her being on the show, and it's like, everybody knows Danielle, here you go. Or if she's going to be on this season. If she's going to be on this season, which I think she will be, it will be to replace somebody who is not on the rest of the season, and that's Bailey.
Do we need to even talk about Bailey?
Do you know why she's not?
Yes. Yeah.
That was my PSA.
That we have to talk about.
That's my PSA.
Yes, and I'll let you go with that one. I was more saying because of what you're about to discuss, when she has a scene in this episode, I even put a question mark. I was like, do we need to do this?
No, we don't need to do that. We can skip any Bailey scene because she reportedly was involved for maybe a couple of weekends.
I think it was 2 or 3 weeks.
2 or 3 weekends. And what she was doing is going back to New York, talking about all of the storylines that were going on in the summer house, talking shit on the cast.
Telling everyone they were weird.
Telling everybody that they were very weird. And look, she seems a little out there as well. So maybe she just didn't really feel the reception and she decided to go vent. But she was telling all of these people who are not part of the show what's going on. When producers came to her and said, hey, you can't do that. Stop doing that. She left. So she opted to, and look, she probably got fired and sent home, but like, how are you going to do that? You just had, maybe you're riding on Lexi's coattails into the house. Fine, because you're friends with her. You got like brought on. Lexi was going to get picked anyway. She's got like over 1 million Instagram followers. So like, she's going to be well known. You get to ride into this. You get to collect a Bravo check and you ruin it that fast is insane to me. It's so stupid. So yeah, she does get the boot at some point. And I think that maybe they reach out to Danielle and they're like, hey, you want to pop in here now and again?
Interesting. I thought that she would just pop in as a friend of role.
Good, yeah.
But
is that even like a thing on these shows? Friend of?
I mean, we've had, think about, not friend of roles, but we've had Andrea comes back to the house every now and then.
Sure, okay, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, people do bop back in.
Star.
Chris comes back every now and then. So, it's like a special guest episode. I
what about Alex? You miss Alex? Oh, you don't even remember Alex? You were so into him.
Alex,
I would rip him apart. I'd rip him apart for being so boring. And you're like, dude, come on.
He was so nice.
Nice. I'm like, he sucks.
I remember Alex. He was so sweet.
Yeah,
he would just eat his 2 pounds of turkey for breakfast every morning.
I don't need him or Chris. There's enough guys in the house at this point.
I don't need Chris back full time.
No,
if you want to drop him in there for a couple of dad jokes, I'm down.
No.
His jokes.
Andre is the only person that I would want to see.
I do miss Andre.
Luke would be interesting, but he's not on any Bravo shows.
No, I don't even know what the fuck Luke's doing. I think he has
after that Winter House stint.
That was a tough showing. That was a really tough showing. I think he's got a beer company now. Like the last I saw of him, I don't really know. And he's living up there in Minnesota.
Yeah, don't you know?
Yeah, by a lake or pretending to do outdoorsy shit.
Yeah,
but
still building an igloo.
Yeah, he still has not finished the igloo. His axe is still stuck in that log. Yep. I'll give him this because I gave him a lot of shit. We follow him on Brav Bros, or I guess Bros and Shows.
Yeah.
Now, and his thing popped up, and he was doing renovations to his house, and I watched like a good 5 minutes. And he does know what he's doing, so I do want to give him credit there. Because I was like, do you actually know how to do? Yeah, because for the longest time, I'm like, I think you're fucking faking.
All right, shout out Luke.
So I'll give him props.
What he's doing.
Yeah, he was putting shit together. It was fine. But anyway, let's get back on track here. Before we actually get it back on track, one more Bailey thing.
Okay, yeah.
I'm glad she's. I got
nothing from her.
I got bad vibes when she got in the house. I was like, I don't know why you're here. You don't seem to fit the bill. And now we know. And I wonder if she was more of a plant. Like she's like, I'm going to infiltrate because we've gotten too many of that recently.
Yeah, there has
Monica
been a lot
Garcia did that. Who else was
Sienna and Southern Charm.
Yeah, too many people are working their way into these shows. I don't care for it.
I don't care for it either. And she didn't bring anything to the table.
Nah, even in this episode, like when she does have a shot, it's like you have a boyfriend.
Yeah.
And you're trying to act like you don't on TV.
So that you can,
He's going to see this, you weirdo.
We see enough guys do that on Bravo.
Yeah, we know how to, we can clock
that out very easily.
Yeah, anyway. Let's get back to the house. We're having a split day. We got the boys are going to go out and, just get reacquainted, sit down, have a couple of brewskis, a couple of chit-chats. The girls are going to hang out by the pool. And this is interesting to me because we do have in Southern Charm right now, we're watching one half of the Paige and Craig debacle.
Yeah.
It's now a debacle in my mind.
Yep.
On this side, we get Paige's view of the whole thing. When Lindsay comes to the house super pregnant, right? And they're talking about timelines. She brings up the timeline of her and Craig. She's like, so let's just get this straight. Craig and I start dating. Lindsay and Carl start dating. Lindsay and Carl get engaged. Lindsay and Carl call off wedding. Lindsay pregnant with another man's baby. Craig and I still just dating. In my head, I'm like, that's a problem. That's a problem only because you guys haven't had the conversation about moving forward.
Let's go hot take.
Hot take?
You think Lindsay and Lindsay's relationship with Carl and now being pregnant is exactly why Paige broke up with Craig.
I think, honestly, not the reason why. I think that it caused her to think about it more.
Yeah, that's fair.
And a comment that she makes later in this episode is the one that really stuck with me that we're going to discuss when we get there. But yeah, the timeline is funny, and I do think that this.
Well, is it like you're not talking about in this moment when they're sitting around?
No. Later on,
and Paige even says, "Lindsay's pregnant. It feels like we're all pregnant."
Yeah, no.
But like, thank God. Also,
thank God I'm not. No, because like knowing that Craig wants it so bad, when you hear that, you're like, oh, that's mean. But no, it's not. It's just her. Like she's starting to realize more things, and that's all it is. But we get to the boys' day, and we've got about. And I've seen different takes on this situation. I've got one more episode of the cutesy shit between Jesse and Lexi before I'm
already annoyed by it.
It's wearing.
I'm already done with it. And look, this goes for the bros that are listening. This comes from a bro, and it also goes for the lady bros out there that listen to us.
Everyone's a bro.
If you're going on a trip and you're excited to hang out with your girls, you're excited to hang out with your boys. And within 20 seconds, one of your boys is so enthralled with another girl that he's not going to have any boy time. It's annoying as shit. And that goes for the girls too. If one of your girls is like obsessed with a guy and it works away from the group and goes after the guy, it's annoying as shit. That I understand that. I actually feel bad for West. And look, I know last year, I don't feel bad for West for anything else with Ciara. But I know last year, like he did get cozy with Ciara, but Jesse had a lot going on, so he wasn't like upset about it.
Yep.
And also he waited. He waited a couple of weeks, and then they kind of like eased into it, and it was here and there and whatever. And Jesse was trying to push him towards it anyway. This is way different.
Yeah,
this is first laid eyes like, oh, I'm going to hook up with this girl this week. No, look, if we didn't get the clip later in the season that it leads to something that's going to be fun for TV, then I would not be for this at all. Right now, I'm like, it's annoying to me to watch it.
Just because it takes over so much, and it's just giggly. Like the dudes are giggly about
carefree.
Shit.
Like he said later he's carefree because he got, he's 5 years removed from having cancer. He feels like he can look forward. All of these things. Well, that's what they say when he said.
Well, no, he just got through chemo last year.
I know, but he said it in his.
Oh, I see what you're. Okay.
Yeah, since whatever. Either way. He's now moving forward with his life, looking forward to the future. I wanted him to be carefree and have fun, not this.
I don't have an issue with him potentially shacking up for the summer. That's not my problem. My problem is for 20 minutes, nothing really happens. It's just going back and forth between everybody talking about the vibes between Jesse and Lexi. I don't care if they hook up. I don't care if they're exclusive for the summer. I don't care. I know you do. I don't.
You know how I care about people shacking up at the house.
I know you do. You got mad immediately last year when West was talking to Ciara.
Yep.
So I know that's your thing. I get it. Me, it's not that big of a problem. It's just it overtook everything, and it's going back, and Jesse's all giddy. I mean, it's funny when he's like, man, I've been single a long time. And it's like, you met her yesterday. You met her yesterday. And he's DMing her like, man, I really wish I had your number right now.
Much.
Like all these things. Yeah, but it's
that was one of our friends. I'd be like,
dude,
much,
settle down.
Yeah.
You're going to, but it works somehow.
But if somebody's receptive to that too, like if you tell one of your friends like, all right, enough, like stop doing this. You don't have to message her and get her number. It's a little too much. She's going to think you're weird. And then she's receptive to it. It's like, what's going on with her?
I don't know.
A little weird of her too.
Both of you.
Yeah. You're both very weird. I don't like it.
And, he FaceTimes on the way back from the bar, and she's like, run straight into my room and give me a big old koala hug. And everyone's like, oh, my God. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
I don't care for it.
But we get back to the house. I fucking hated this scene. I hated this. And it came out of left field. I didn't know where this... I've liked Gabby. Yep. I've been an advocate for Gabby since she came on the show, and she caught some shit early on because she wasn't doing a whole lot. Then we watched her go through her journey last season where she was misunderstood, felt misrepresented in the house, and she stood up and she said something. I thought that was fucking awesome. She comes in this season and she's going out. She's got a roster in the Hamptons that she's hanging out with. I'm like, fuck yeah. And then we get here and she's talking to Lindsay. You weren't dating Carl, Gabby. Yeah. You weren't with Carl.
A little too much of a girl's girl.
She's like, why would Carl even come back? Him and his big ass teeth. What's he got to offer to the party with his fucking non-alc lover boy? I was like, whoa, lady. Whoa.
Carl's been on this show for like 10 years.
He's an OG.
Yeah.
First and foremost, you're coming in questioning whether or not Carl should come back to the house. He is Summer House. This whole crew, Carl, Lindsay, Kyle, Amanda, Paige, if they want to stay in the house, they're allowed to stay in the house.
What's he supposed to do? Not collect a big fat Bravo check too?
Like $500,000 probably.
I don't know if it's that much.
285 would be my guess.
That's a good number.
285 is my guess.
I think that's probably pretty close to it. Yeah, is he not supposed to? He gets to go to the Hamptons for free every weekend. Like, yes, he has to deal with the fact that Lindsay's in the house. Yes, he's not drinking, but he's gotten so much better. We've watched his journey after all of this. He's come into his own. He can be fun and carefree. Once all the Lindsay stuff gets left behind and they're able to coexist, he'll go back to being normal and fun.
And we can just watch him, like, figure out how to flirt again, which is going to be a delight to watch.
It's going to be really funny to watch.
It'll be great. But the biggest thing was like the implication that because he's sober, he can't bring anything to a party. I was like, fuck you.
Lindsay's pregnant.
Yeah, what does she bring to the party? She doesn't drink either.
Where's your issue there?
What's your point? And to further that, who went out? Carl went out. Lindsay went out. They went out to party. You don't have to drink.
We actually got the whole house to a party this time,
which is great.
Except a lot of them came home early, but whatever.
I know that bothered you, but this really fucking made me mad because the implication that sober people don't bring anything to a party. You don't have to be drunk to have fun. I know what she's doing. She's trying to get Lindsay's back here.
Yep.
Lindsay's not saying anything.
Nope.
She's just figuring out how to work through this and what it's going to be like when the awkwardness breaks.
Maybe Gabby thought that Lindsay was going to be typical Lindsay and be upset about it and start trashing Carl immediately. But we saw this and we talked about it last week. We posited the theory that she was going to be pissed about this. And I think Gabby thought the same thing. So she was immediately just ripping it off. And instead, Lindsay's like, I don't fucking care.
Yeah, I didn't care for it. And you know what? I am willing to look past it. Because maybe she just came in hot trying to support her girl. And I'll give her that.
That's probably what it was, yeah.
But very disappointed. I was very disappointed in her comments. Didn't care for it at all. Did not care for it at all. But anyway, Lexi and Jesse get a little snuggle sesh. And we get a moment between the two of them where, we get a little trauma dump, which is... I've come to find out that that's any reality show when there's a connection made. And The Bachelor has taught us that. When there's now I've started paying attention more in Bravo shows.
Yep.
And it happens every time we get a new connection. It's the first thing that people do.
Yep.
They talk about hard things they've been through, which arguably, it is a good way to get to know somebody. But she starts talking about this guy that she was best friends with that passed away. I don't know what's going on. Okay, I do not shoot the messenger here.
Okay.
Have you heard the rumblings about this?
No.
So I guess there's a little bit of drama surrounding this. And like I said, do not shoot me.
I won't.
Not you, everybody out there.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know. I'm just relaying.
Tell a shooter not to shoot, buddy.
I'll give you that one. Nice job. But this is what I've seen. So I guess that this guy was either engaged or dating somebody else. Okay. And the pictures that, like, if you saw the little montage they put together, she was like grabbing the back of his neck. They were kissing each other on the cheek a lot. So I guess there's some drama surrounding this friendship that she had with this dude, Jeremy. I don't know what's going on. If you want to do your own research, like I said, don't shoot the messenger.
So what are you saying?
I'm just saying that the friendship with this guy, there's some question marks around it.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying.
All right.
Okay? Am I going to get in trouble for that?
I don't think so, no.
Is that good?
I just wanted you to plainly say it.
I just don't want to say too much because I don't know.
You are saying it. I just,
I wasn't there. I don't know what the dynamic is like. I'm not saying they didn't have a really close relationship. They obviously seem very close. I'm just saying that there's rumblings.
It's like you're taking me to water and you're like, there's water over that ridge, but I'm not going anywhere.
Exactly. I'm taking our baby birds, taking you guys out there to the watering hole.
Yeah.
But I'm going to stand guard.
Birds go to the watering hole?
While you go check it out.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
That's all I'm doing.
But you already checked out the water hole?
Yes.
Okay.
But I'm not going
You're not going back.
I'm not I've already had my sips.
Okay.
From the I'm already satiated.
Okay.
Okay? But I'm not going to deliver the rest. You can do your own research on this one because I don't want to sound like an asshole.
What if we're like really dehydrated and we can't walk any further?
If more things come out, I will start talking about it. But I'm not going to be the one to deliver all of it. Just if you want to look into it, there's stuff out there to look into. Does that keep me neutral? Am I still safe?
I don't know about neutral, but yeah.
Am I still safe? I guess I'll find out when we post the episode. That's fun. That's always a fun game to play. Did I say too much? Wait and see. But anyway, we get to the kitchen. And the moment has finally arrived. And I'm so happy that Kyle was in there to have this. He's trying to be subtle. He's like, psst, psst, hey, Carl, do it now. And Carl's wiping sweat from his brows. He goes, hey, Lindsay. Hey, Lindsay.
He said it in a way that was like he was going to ask her a question. No. Hey, Lindsay. What? Hey, Carl. Like, I'm surprised that she said, hey, Carl back because it sounded like it would require a what?
Again, I don't know how I would do this. I have no idea.
I just like in his confessional afterwards, he's like, I felt really good about doing all of that. I feel like I said what I wanted to say. It felt genuine.
It felt genuine only because of how awkward it was.
I'm like, do you know if it was genuine? Like, what's the deal?
I think that it was just so rattling.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm sure that he's played this moment out a million times in his head. I'm sure Lindsay has as well. Like, what's it going to be like?
Yeah.
Because despite what Lindsay's saying in her confessionals, where she's like, I don't care at all, blah, 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 I'm like, you got to care a little bit.
Still like something in there.
Yeah, I don't think that she's having a bad reaction to it, but there's got to be something in there where it's like, this is going to be weird.
Yeah.
So I was
he should have been like, hey, Lindsay, is medium rare cool for the baby?
Mid rare?
Oh, by the way, congrats on the baby, but like medium rare?
Yeah, it's a baby like medium rare.
That would have been funny. I would have,
it would have been really funny if he walked up to her stomach and was like, do you like medium rare? Do baby? Just didn't say anything and just acknowledged the baby.
Oh, God.
But yeah.
If he showed up with like a little bib, like Uncle Carl's favorite.
Oh, my God. If he showed up with baby clothes, I don't know if that would have been better or worse than, hey, Lindsay. Hey, Lindsay.
That would have been the best.
And she gives him a, hey, Carl, and it's awkward as shit.
Or, here you go. No, it's a baby shirt, but it's his non-alcoholic bar, the soft bar.
Oh, soft bar?
Yeah.
That would have been really funny.
Because she didn't support it.
Oh, my God.
That would have been great.
But then you set the tone.
I know.
Hey, I don't think he wanted to come in throwing shade. Carl seems like he really wants to separate and move on.
I think that's the best course of action for Carl.
1,000,000%.
For Carl and Lindsay. For
yes.
us, on the other hand, a soft bar baby shirt
would have been really fucking funny. That would have been funny. It would have been funny. But he says congratulations, and it's super awkward, but I thought he was nice. And she's like, a little bit short with him, but she wasn't rude. And, I think she tries to make a little joke. She's like, remember last summer I did say, like, we'll see where we are next summer, and I am pregnant. And I'm like, ha. Did that work? Is Carl still cool?
I think the intentions were pure.
I think it was just to break the ice.
It was nice. It was way nicer than I thought it was going to be going into it. And I like the approach. Carl did speak first.
Yes.
Which was probably necessary.
I agree.
He congratulated her, which was nice.
It was.
She responded in kindness, thanked him, and cracked a little joke. I'm okay with it.
I wasn't sure if it was all cool until later on. And I was like, okay, then everything I saw earlier was cool. It's just awkward.
I love it.
I'm here for it.
I'm so happy about it because I did not want to be bogged down by it.
Absolutely not.
It would have been interesting for like a week or two.
It would have been interesting for one episode.
But if it kept going, I would have been upset.
One episode, it would have been like, oh, and then it would have been like, I'm done. So yeah, I'm glad it went this way. But we get Paige and Ciara in bed, of course. And they're chit-chatting about West. And I think the most important thing to take away from this and from how Ciara's talking, just overall when it comes to the West thing, because she says, I'm scared to even go downstairs. I'm scared of how much I don't want to be here. Ciara was very, very into West.
Yes.
She was very into this guy. She thought that there was a whole lot more there. And she was crushed by what had transpired. Mm-hmm. And West does not understand the gravity of what Ciara thought they had together. And that's his biggest misstep in what's going on. Because the more she talks about it, the more we see her reactions to West, the more she talks one-on-one with Paige, the more you find out it's like, wow, she thought this was like the real deal.
She thought that it was going to be way better or at least longer lasting than it was.
Yeah.
And didn't expect it to turn into what it turned into. And all this really tells me, based off of, the way that Ciara is talking about it, the way that West went about it afterwards, what we see at the dinner table later, it seems like West thinks that it's kind of like not a big deal. Like, you know what, we're done. I'm going to be able to do what I want. And you shouldn't be able to be upset about that. That's kind of like the mentality that I get from him, the way that he's talking about this.
Yes.
Which makes me feel like when he is dating, because we had this whole conversation last year about, when I start dating somebody, like it just kind of like runs its course and then it's gone. And I feel like this is like real. Does he do that to every girl that he dates?
He has commitment issues.
Yeah.
That's what he has.
But you mask it with commitment intentions.
Right.
And then you don't, because you have issues.
Yes.
So that's a problem.
It's not great.
No.
It's not great. And look, I'm gonna flat out say it, okay? West, he's a guy's guy. Mm-hmm. And I think that most people watching this show would be like, you know what? He'd be a blast to hang out with. He seems like a nice dude. For all intents and purposes, if you're his friend, he is a nice dude.
Yeah.
When it comes to dating, clearly he has a little bit of growing up to do. Mm-hmm. He doesn't understand the gravity of what he did. Mm-hmm. He doesn't understand that and that was the toughest part. And that's what we said last year. And that's what people warned him about last year. And that's why I can't give him a pass for all of this, because people told him, Ciara is very closed off. She doesn't do this with people. She has already been crushed in this house once by another blonde-haired idiot in Austin. Don't fuck around, because this is not that situation. So I don't have a lot of sympathy for all the shit he's catching right now, because I get what he's trying to say. It was a summer fling. It wasn't that deep.
Yeah.
Why is it this big of a reaction? Because if you lay out the reasons why, you took her to Montana, you made false promises, you made her think that you guys were a lot closer than you were. Mm-hmm. She was afraid to have sex with you because she was afraid you would do this. And within, I think, 2 weeks to a month after having sex with you, everything fell apart.
Yep.
These were the reasons she was nervous. Mm-hmm. And then it still went to shit. So she's crushed by this. And then on top of that, after the reunion, you had to sit down to squash it. From Ciara's standpoint, it sounds like you guys were at least at a point where you could walk away. And then you started doing articles and interviews. And I'll play devil's advocate because, he caught a lot of shit. Mm-hmm. He was public enemy number one for a very long time. And I'd argue he is taking that seat again right now. So I think anybody in that position would go on the defensive. But you didn't have to go on the defensive against Ciara.
Yeah.
She wasn't perpetuating.
I think, that's the full issue.
Yes.
He made it personal.
And it wasn't about her.
He should have just made it general. Should have just said, you know what, there were inner workings going on there. Her and I were able to resolve it and we moved on.
Period.
You don't have to answer every leading question that an interviewer is going to ask
that
you.
Nick Vile fucking asks.
Yeah.
Because he's going to try to get you to say some stupid shit.
So you can get a fucking clip and put it out there and everybody's going to click on it. You're going to be public enemy number one. He's going to get clicks.
Yes.
He doesn't really care what you look like after that.
Not at all.
So I think that's pretty much what happened. But the fact that he did it multiple times, other podcasts, the New York Times article, and the things that he was saying were not like, oh, yeah, like it ran its course. It just didn't really work out for us. He was saying we were never that close.
We were never meant to be together.
Ciara's out here saying that we were super close and everything was going to happen. And she felt like she was secure. And then I just completely broke it off. That's not true. Here's what's true. We were never close. It's like we have video footage of you guys doing this, of you going to the farm and hanging out and like you meeting her or her meeting your parents and all this shit that happened that you said that no other girl has.
On a holiday, no less. On a
holiday. And like you're doing all of these things. But now you're saying that you guys weren't close. Like, it's just factually incorrect.
It's factually incorrect. And again, you took everybody from the Bravo-verse attacking you and you threw it back on Ciara. And it was not her behind all of this. Yep. She was the one that got hurt. She didn't say shit. She was so upset. She just kind of faded off and let this thing all play out.
Yeah, she went to Scotland.
Yeah, you pointed at her. That's the problem.
Yep.
You took your defensiveness and you pointed it at Ciara when she was not doing anything to you. And that's a terrible look.
And so also, like timeline-wise, too, you were already getting shit on at the end of the season.
Yes.
Then you went on podcasts and the interview.
Yep.
So you knew that you were going to get shit for this. Why were you? It's like you were leaning into it.
I know. You just shouldn't have, again, if you wanted to.
I'm not saying don't do interviews because obviously you're, a reality TV personality.
/
you want to like further
reporter.
yourself and you're a sports reporter, whatever. But like, the guys in the NFL aren't going to ask you about what's going on there. So you can live that life perfectly. But you don't have to continue to go on podcasts. You don't have to do the New York Times interview at that point. And if you do, you don't have to talk about it.
You don't have to talk about her specifically. You can talk in generalities and protect her, but you didn't protect her.
Yep.
That's the problem.
Yep. And that's what he doesn't get.
No, I know, exactly. That's like and even at the end of this episode, I'm like, you still don't totally get it, but hopefully you guys are cool enough to move on.
Yeah, exactly.
But we get Lindsay with West, and that's exactly what they're talking about as well. He wants to have fun. He wants to be respectful. And I think he's being genuine when he's saying these things. I don't think that he's a bad dude. I don't think he's trying to fucking crush Ciara. I don't think that was his intention. I just don't think he has foresight and he didn't think this through.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's actively trying to crush Ciara, but I do think that his ignorance towards her feelings is tough.
Which is, you can't give him a pass for that.
He simply wants, and I agree with you. I think that he's being genuine. I don't think he's a bad dude. Actively.
It takes more critical thinking than just saying that.
Correct. And I think that what the outcome he wants is for things to feel normal. All the things that he said throughout the episode, I was always the guy that could just walk into any room and nobody was mad at me.
Yeah.
And I want that back.
Yeah.
It's like, well, you can't have that back until you apologize.
You need some concessions.
You need to acknowledge the fact that you hurt her feelings.
First and
that's what you're not doing. All you're worried about is your seating.
Your reception.
Your reception is your image. And that's the only thing. And it's not that like you want to look good to everybody. It's not that you want to be this person that's like going to be a star and everybody wants you. You just want to be comfortable. You're not worried about how uncomfortable you made Ciara.
That's a good point.
That's all he's concerned about. And he's just so blocked up in the, I feel so uncomfortable right now. It's like you did this to yourself by doing it to someone else.
Right.
So it's a tough look.
So clean it up so we can get back to watching the boys have fun.
Yeah.
Because that's what we want to see.
I think we can.
I think we'll get there. I do.
I think Ciara wants to just
I don't think
leave. I don't think she likes being the person that's like mean.
No.
She was able to get it out at dinner, which we'll talk about in a second, but like after that, I think she's done with it.
Yeah, I do too.
Don't think she wants to deal with it. And if she ignores you for a couple of weeks, fine. Like, don't go looking for Ciara is not nice to me. She's still giving me the cold shoulder. Okay.
Let it lie.
Nobody else is actively going against you and calling you an asshole. So like, take a win.
Yeah, just let it lie. Let it lie. Or take accountability. One of the two.
Both.
But yeah, you're right. Both. But I am glad that we have Lindsay back in a role where we have her like talking to West and giving advice about like she's going to be able to step back into being like
taking a motherly role.
Show. Yeah. But nice. Yeah. But it's just nice to see her because we haven't seen that, obviously, because she was her and Carl the last two seasons have been crazy. So like watching her step back into that, I was like, oh, fuck yeah. Like she's back. That's fun. So overall, I'm happy with the way things are going right now. And we get to dinner and Lindsay toasts Carl. Carl, thank you so much for making dinner. I'm like, oh my God. Yay.
We're good.
The house feels cool. I think we're good. And like Carl's face, he's got a shit-eating grin. So I think that was the moment where it's like everybody took a collective, okay.
Yeah, all the ice was broken at that point.
We're good now.
We're good.
Yeah.
I'm still not going to push the issue, but like we can coexist.
But this is what I was waiting to talk about earlier. Because West and Ciara can't look at each other. So let me break this down. Let's break this down. All right. I wish I had a whiteboard here. We don't. Maybe that's what we need to invest in next. But let me break this down. Lindsay and Carl were friends forever. Dated. Broke up. Still friends. Dated. Got engaged. Were a month away from getting married. Called the wedding off in the most disastrous breakup we've seen. Mm-hmm. They're cordial. West and Ciara had a summer fling, and it ended so tumultuously because of him being a moron that they can't even look at each other in the face. Yep. They can't even have a conversation.
She doesn't.
But Lindsay and Carl are able to be adults here. That's wild.
It is very funny to put that into perspective. And Ciara does not want to look at West. No. West is afraid to look at Ciara.
Oh, those
are the differences.
West is like fidgeting, like looking down at the floor, like, oh God.
Why did I have to sit here?
His inner monologue, I would love just, Jesus, fuck, man. Oh, God damn it. Like, is she looking at me?
Afterwards, he's like folding napkins.
God, I wish I didn't have this stupid fucking haircut. It's just, when you put them next to each other, like those two situations, and the fact that Lindsay and Carl are cool.
Yeah.
And these two are a disaster.
So funny.
It's hysterical to me. But speaking of the hairstyle, so what do you think of the hairstyle? It sucks, according to Ciara. And I think she reached a point here where she's got a lot built up because she has been relatively quiet throughout this whole thing. Like, I know we saw her go out a little bit last year, just at the end of the season. Like, we obviously, the reunion, but that's a different setting. That's where you're supposed to air things out. But after the reunion, they had a sit down, so she hasn't had a chance to respond about anything that he's been saying in the press. So she's obviously got a lot bottled up, and I think it reached a point. And as we know with Ciara, like, yeah, she will stand her ground, and she doesn't take anyone's shit.
Yeah.
But she's also not actively searching to start shit.
Yeah.
So for her to have this moment, I think it was just that. She's like, you know what, fuck it. And she starts going in a little bit. And she's like, you know, I try to be nice, but why don't you keep the same energy as the New York Times article? If you're going to do that there, you do that here. And I'm like, that's a valid point. That's a valid point.
I think Ciara just had like a little seep through of PTSD from the round table of the traders.
That's fine.
We're sitting at a table right now. I'm going to go after this guy.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. It plays really well. But she keeps going. She's like, it's just a beta ass move. I'm like, oh, damn. And West is like, well, we can have. I know I shouldn't. I don't feel bad.
You can laugh at it. Yeah.
But it's just like. He's like looking. He's like, "I do. Maybe we can have a conversation. We can talk about this
one-on-one."
And someone from the other table is like, "You want to have a private conversation?" And he's like, "Yeah, a private conversation." She's like, "No, we're both here. They're all going to know about it anyway."
Kyle's response too. He's like, "I wouldn't be privy to that."
Yeah, he's like, "I mean, yeah, you can, but I want to hear what's going on here." Yeah. And Ciara's like, "They're all going to fucking hear about it anyway. So let's do this shit." And the underlying message, the most important part of this entire thing, that would make all of it go away. That would have made all of it go away.
Yep.
And she gave him the opportunity to do it at the horse farm. We watched it last year when they went riding. If you don't like me, just tell me.
Yep.
If you didn't like me, if you weren't that into me, just tell me at some point rather than take me to meet your family in Montana, rather than when we're sitting at the horse farm on camera and I say to you, here's your out. She literally was like, you're out right now. If you want out, you're out. We're good. He's like, no. So now it's like, yeah, dude, just fucking tell me that because that's a bitch ass move and you're a fucking loser anyway. And I was like, oh God. And he's just like, fuck me, dude. Like, I don't know what to do.
Just stay quiet the whole time. It's like you have to either defend yourself, which would be a bad
Don't
move,
do that, but speak.
But like speak.
Say something.
You have to just say sorry.
Because now we've had you silent at the reunion. You're silent here at the table, but you are going and doing interviews and you're not silent. And that's, I don't know if he sees that.
I don't think he sees that at all. And I think that I think deep down he probably could feel and say, look, I was in a position where I had to talk about it and I said some things that I didn't really mean, but they were asking me questions and I think I just went off the rails a little bit. Like you could say that because I think that's probably what happened.
Yeah, but it's not good.
It's not great, but at least say that.
Say something.
Say something. Give an explanation. Any sort of explanation to your actions would be helpful.
Or I'm sorry.
Yeah, just, you know what? I hear you. I'm sorry.
The silence
you know what? You're still going to get shit for it, but the silence is the worst.
It's deafening. Yeah. And everyone else in the house is seeing it.
Yeah, because I think he just feels like he's getting beat right now.
But I'm
not going to talk about it.
But like Ciara says, this is not the worst dinner we've seen. Yeah, you're getting berated a little bit, but we've seen much worse at this table. So
I like the call. It's like Carl and Lindsay were engaged last summer.
But seriously,
I know.
And she's cheersing him. She's saying thank you.
They both laugh at that. It's like
I know. That's so nice.
Is so nice.
So fucking nice. That's so nice. But even Kyle, when they break this scene and it's like West and Jesse and Kyle, he's like, dude, you gotta talk.
Yeah.
You gotta fucking say something. And West is like, this is the defense thing. It's like post breakup, I was in defense mode. I was getting fucking smoked from all sides. I shut down. I kind of crawled into a shell. And it's like, yeah, all right, let's look at this from just objective human standpoint. If you're catching shit on social media from every single outlet, that's probably going to beat you down a lot. And yeah, that probably sucks. Respond. Speak.
Yep.
To her, not to Nick Viall.
Yeah.
That's the problem, man. But we get to post dinner. Everyone's going out, which, we love. We come back home. We get some munchies. We don't get to see where they go because, as we know, a lot of the Hamptons bars don't allow cameras into their establishment.
See them walking in, but not.
They're not allowed inside.
That's bizarre.
The Hamptons don't allow cameras inside. I don't know why. But
Just tired of that.
I am too. I want to see them
the whole
party.
show to New York. I don't care.
They're in New York.
No, I meant like the city.
They're in New York. Hamptons is in New York.
Unique New York.
Unique New York. What is it? Who has oddly shaped feet?
I don't know.
The something has oddly shaped.
I know How Now Brown Cow.
How now brown cow. Ah! Just yelling. Guttural sounds. Lanolin? Like sheep's wool? No, not you. I don't even know your name. Where was I? Paige and Ciara, they're talking. And if this doesn't show you that she still has feelings and this is why she's so smushed.
Smushed.
Say smoked. Smushed.
Smoked.
Smushed.
Neither.
Smoked. Why is she so crushed by this whole thing?
Yep.
It's like, she's like, I just
Smushed.
called you out. Smushed. I just called you out, made a scene. Let's make out. Is what she said. And Paige's like, I totally get it. And that to me,
I think that shows like a semblance of if he fucking apologized,
then we can move on.
We can move on.
Yeah, that's what I got.
Yes, you don't have to like if you start crying or something. Which she even said she's like I would feel bad for him. Like part of me wanted to go over and like give him a hug
and say we're cool.
Okay.
Yeah,
but like I'm not going to do that because I'm going to stand up for myself and like that is the appropriate response.
It is.
But the fact that we just saw that, you know who Ciara is. You did date her. You got to know her on a deeper level. If you apologize, she'll probably let it slide and let it go, and we can move on.
Or
from
you
all
can
of this.
start to rebuild some semblance
Sort
of a friendship. I don't know,
at least,
but
like that's what you want. Because if you and Ciara can bury the hatchet and you can be friends with her, everybody in the house is going to be okay with you. And that's exactly what you want.
I need a cool house.
Yeah.
We've been far too long have we had
I know.
people at odds and not like little
4 summers
spats.
now, dude.
We've had like really serious shit happening now. I want a fun summer. And we did have a fun summer. Last year was a great season, but it was bogged down by some really serious shit. I'm ready for some lighthearted fun. I'm ready for Jesse to do something dumb, and now Lexi's mad at him.
Yeah.
Like I'm cool with that. There's no ramifications there.
I agree.
They just met. Let's get back to that. That's what I want to fuck with. Okay? Cool?
Cool.
Everybody cool? All right, good. Let's get to Amanda and Kyle real quick because they've been on a journey, as we know. Last summer was rough to watch from Kyle's standpoint. Felt so bad for Amanda. You know, we have talked about the prospect of children for a while. Amanda's also been very forthcoming with her mental health and the things that she goes through. And she is now at this point, because Kyle brings up, isn't it nuts that Lindsay's pregnant before we are? And Amanda's like, no, it's not. And I thought that she was going the route of no, because you can't commit to anything, you giant man baby. But instead, she's like, I'm trying to figure out my medications right now. I'm trying to figure out what works for me. I'm trying to put myself first. I'm being a little selfish right now and focusing on me. And I was like, that's not selfish. That's awesome.
That's incredible. I liked the line where she was talking about like being 19, you look at 25 and you say, I want to have kids by 25. Then you're 25 and you say, yeah, maybe by 30. And then you're 30 and you realize you're still just a baby.
Yeah.
Love that.
We're not adults.
Yeah, because,
isn't that crazy?
And we saw, and that's the other thing, like you have the ability to watch yourself on TV through the majority of your 20s.
And Kyle
Through the majority of his 30s.
Don't watch him too much.
Yeah. Try not to. But they together are in such a better place now. And it's not going to last.
For now.
It never does. But for now, it's good. And I like that they have the perspective of seeing Lindsay pregnant and they don't have that knee-jerk reaction of what are we doing with our lives? Where's our marriage going? Are we going to have kids? Because we've had that conversation over the last 5 summers straight.
Yep.
And we haven't gotten anywhere.
Nope.
So the fact that Amanda's even saying I'm putting myself first and I'm doing all of this, that's progress.
Yep.
And we see Kyle saying I'm going to come home at 2:00 and I'm going to make sure my wife is happy. Progress.
It will take that.
Yeah.
Even if it was a you boys hang back for 20 so I look like I came home early.
Exactly. Which is what it was.
But who cares?
Yeah.
It's progress.
Yes.
We like to see progress. But we get to the next morning. Ciara seems okay. What? I can't help it, dude. He makes me laugh. I like West. I can't help it.
Yeah.
But he's moping around like somebody kicked his puppy.
Sad puppy.
He's like walking out like walking out the back door.
There are bagels here yet?
Yeah, you eat the bagels yet? Where's
Carl's
Carl?
not back yet. There's no bagels. Fine.
Fine. He goes outside.
Well, boys.
I'll go talk to my real friend. You guys fucking suck. But Kyle's setting up a party. West goes out, and again, he's acting kind of quiet and awkward. And Kyle's like, hey, man, today's a great day to do it. Mm-hmm. Great day for this is a good opportunity to figure this the fuck out.
Do it before we start drinking.
Do something.
Yeah.
Please do something and go handle this shit because we're all tired of it already. Carl gets back with bagels. Lindsay, thanks so much, Carl. I'm like, these guys are great.
Best friends. Carl's going to be the godfather.
I love this duo. Like, it's so nice. And it's just.
This is so nice. I'm so happy this is how it turned out.
Basic pleasantries. Yep. And I'm elated. I'm like, yeah, Lindsay and Carl, date. No. We get to, they're having, like I said, the 4th of July party. Lindsay's going to go home to celebrate with her baby daddy, their baby announcement.
Carson?
Turner. But you're
I
the
will
same,
never get this right.
It doesn't matter. I mean, again, like we should list the names that are in that category.
Dude,
I think I said Hudson is one.
I said Hudson last
I said
week,
Tucker.
Tucker's a good one,
Turner.
It's
Carson.
Turner, right? It is Turner.
What else? Oh, Nathaniel is one. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think so. And maybe a Coop.
Oh, Coop, yeah. Cooper.
Yeah, Cooper's probably one. I'm sure I could think of a couple more.
There's definitely some more.
But yeah, that's that, they summer in Nantucket. Right? Their dads own a Fortune 500.
They all do.
I work for my father. No, you don't.
Your father will sue you.
No, you don't, Tucker.
Bouncer, if you don't let me into this bar.
That's the guy with the popped collar and the Nantucket Reds.
Yeah.
Yep.
We're ragging on this guy. We haven't met him, but we're ragging on him.
He's probably, I don't know.
He's a doctor. He's probably cool.
Yeah, he's probably actually rich.
Quiet and then enjoyable.
Yeah, I have no fucking clue. But anyway, she's going home to celebrate with them. I'm happy too, actually.
Yeah, me
because
too.
I don't think Lindsay would care if he's flirting with people. I really don't.
But he'd be in his head about it.
He'd be weird about it. I need to see Carl get back on that horse. Yeah. For my own pleasure. It's going to be fun. Mm-hmm. It's gonna be a good time to watch. It's like a baby giraffe back out in the wild. Yeah. Like, go get him, Tiger. Let's see what you got.
Throw that neck around.
Yeah, just woo. It's gonna be a good time. So I'm excited that he gets the first weekend with her not there just to get comfortable with it. I genuinely don't think that she's going to take issue. I might feel weird for a split second, but I think she's.
I don't want to have like false hope after this episode, but I don't think it's gonna be weird.
I think they're gonna be fine. I really do. The famous last words, but I really think they're going to be okay. Yeah. But Craig and Paige FaceTime. And this is the moment that I wanted to discuss with you. Okay. Craig and Paige FaceTime, first night recap, talking about Ciara lighting up West. And he brings up something that, it is going to probably be an underlying theme. Like, are there still feelings there?
Yeah.
And there could be. I don't really know. But Paige, this is an important note from Paige because she is talking in a confessional, right? And he's asking her, like, oh, can you bop down here for a couple of days? I'll be there in 2 weeks. I can't come next week. And she's like, I can't come down there. My schedule's too busy. And as we know, she does things in the fashion world. I think that took off a little bit. We know Giggly Squad is massive. Like, they do tours. Like, that's one of the bigger podcasts out there. So she's crushing it with that. Her life has shifted significantly over these past few years. Yep. And that's nothing that she needs to apologize for. And I agree with that. And she's sitting here saying, like, I do feel bad for Craig because my life has changed so much. And because I personally have changed so much that I can't offer him the same things. I've changed my mind on certain things. Before I was thinking about moving to Charleston. Now, like, the way she said it, I'm like, oh, you have no intention at all of moving to Charleston. But here's my problem. Okay. She's coming to terms with all of this. And that's, I respect the hell out of it. I think it's awesome that she's built this life for herself in New York. I think it's awesome that the podcast is, like, all these things that she's done is really incredible. And she should be unapologetic about it.
Yeah.
You owe Craig the same conversation that you just had with us in the confessional. And you owed it to him before whatever this breakup was, because
maybe she did. Who knows? We're going to get more clearance on that and verification on what happened.
And she could have.
In Southern Charm or this or whatever. I think she could have, but like, seeing this is important. This is, we talked about
timeline compared, but that's where I get questions.
This is July, so this is after they're done recording Southern Charm.
All right, see, but that's where I get confused, because watching them on Southern Charm, I think she's still at the place that she's in Summer House right now, and watching them on Southern Charm.
Yeah.
There was no definitive answers. It was still more like leading him on.
I think that, like, I think the timeline for this is also skewed because of confessionals too. Sure. It's a couple of weeks after that. They didn't break up until Thanksgiving apparently, or a week before Thanksgiving or whatever it may have been. So there is still a little bit of time, a little bit of life in there, if you will, and some working out to do. But I think that they probably did have that conversation. But this is something that we've avoided talking about for years because there was no
information.
Now there's actual movement. And we used to like microanalyze different conversations and say, well, he wasn't receptive to the way that she was talking about staying in New York and vice versa and whatever it may have been. Now this is like hard evidence. And obviously we know they broke up, so it's hindsight. But This is hard evidence. This is about as hard of evidence as we can get.
That's what it felt like to me.
Yes. Yeah. And the fact that she said that she feels bad because she's not the same person that Craig started dating years ago. Well, I think that's fair. I think everybody grows up. Absolutely. Everybody changes a little bit. But yeah, I think that she's able to change her perspective. And I don't think that Craig knows that yet. Or this is also possible. Craig is completely oblivious to this because he chooses to be.
And that could be very true.
That's probably the.
I don't want to put the onus on Paige. I think that would be incorrect.
No.
I'm just trying to decipher through, okay, like what point was this her mindset? Mm-hmm. Did they have that conversation at some point? Is Craig turning a blind eye because he's so dead set on this life with her in the future? Yeah. And did he ignore obvious signs or obvious conversations? Right. I don't know. And you're correct. I shouldn't speculate on have they had this conversation or not yet. It's just watching the evidence that we've been given, and I'm trying now to compare that to what we've gotten on Southern Charm and trying to find somewhere in the middle. At the end of the day, I don't know if anyone's faulting her for this. I don't think
so.
I hope not.
You can.
You can't.
Yeah.
Right? Like you really can't. I don't
She's just
see
like a huge Craig stan and you have to.
Right. And especially when she breaks down the timeline of like, we broke up in November. I gave him a whole month for camera's sake to not have to talk about it.
Right.
So to me, it's clean. I'm sure it sucked, but I don't see her taking on, like, I don't want me framing it this way to think that I'm like putting the burden on her. Right. I'm not. I'm just trying to figure out at what point did you have this epiphany of I'm different now?
Yeah.
Right. And at what point was he aware of that? And did he turn a blind eye?
I think he turned a blind eye.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like based off of what we know from
just
Craig.
Kind of looked away, didn't want to acknowledge.
I think so.
You know, and I think you know what? That sounds right only because we have heard him rationalize so many things. When she's told him, like, I don't want to do this.
We've seen a lot more rationalizations in the last year, too.
On this
Summer House
season,
last year, Summer House this year in 2 episodes, and all of Southern Charm. We've seen him rationalize a lot of different things versus, there's little rationalizations, little sacrifices made here and there. But this has been like almost every time that they talk to each other, there's something going on where he's rationalizing something that she's talking about, or she's just plainly saying it and he's like not taking it. So, I think that's probably what's going on.
Now, like, because we go back to that scene when they're in Southern Charm at the farm with the bees. Like without saying it, she's pretty much saying, like, I'm not ready for these things. You keep talking.
You are ready. She's telling him, you are ready for these things.
And then you see him with Shep and Austin, and he's like, but I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that. It's like,
are you?
You keep telling yourself that, and we said this in the Southern Charm recaps, like, it appears the writing's been on the wall for a while.
Yeah.
So, you know what? I would lean towards he turned a blind eye for a while and tried to rationalize his way through this.
It hit a point where Paige felt he's never going to change, and I feel bad even pushing him this far.
Yeah, and I have changed so much
that this life that I'm not ready for.
It's just not it might not even be that she's not ready for it. It's the fact that she's grown into this different person, and she, what she originally saw her life being, or what she wanted.
Same thing as Amanda.
Just shifted, Amanda
said the same thing.
Yeah.
When Paige was 25 dating Craig, or however old she was, like 27, dating Craig, she was thinking, I could probably have kids by the time I'm 32.
Yeah.
Now her entire life changes. She shifts her focus. She's looking at other things, going on tour. Business is becoming more important. She doesn't want the same things that she wanted a couple years ago. Craig doesn't see that.
Yeah.
He just thinks that it's a phase and she'll get over it and like we'll be able to accelerate this at some point.
But that's where the age factor plays.
Yeah, and Craig also says, do I want to be, 60 years old and chasing around my kids? No, I don't want to do that.
Right.
And it's like, okay, you don't want to do that. You just said that you don't want to do that. You don't have to. It just have to be with a different person.
You have to go somewhere else.
Yep.
Yeah, and the last thing I'll say.
We've talked about Craig and Paige.
Well, it was time.
Yeah.
It was time because now we have enough. We can discuss it. And, I think the funniest thing is people trying to give her shit for going to games and stuff with another guy. Like
she's not a Birds fan.
That one, we got a lot of shit for calling her bandwagon, by the way. It's so fucking funny to me. She was bandwagon. I don't care.
Yeah.
But I think we'll give her shit for that. As far as going to the game and like dating around, she's fucking single in New York City. What do you expect? People are like, oh, she did this to Craig. It's like, no, they broke up. She's dating. Like, fuck off.
How it works.
It doesn't make any goddamn sense.
Should Craig be on the what was that show that he was on? He's doing a whole press circuit.
He's doing a lot.
He shouldn't be doing that.
He's doing a lot right now.
He needs to stop.
Yeah, he needs to slow down.
Tamron, I think her name is.
Oh, it's Tamron Hall. Yeah,
Tamron Hall.
The Tamron Hall show.
Yeah. What are you doing? I know that like you were probably thinking I could talk about like my home and garden part.
I'm sure that was what they got him
what do you
there
think
to
they're gonna
do,
have you
and then
talk
it's
about,
like,
dude?
and now let's turn the
Like,
page.
Watch What Happens Live, I get because it's your job. It's Bravo centric. You have to talk about it. You know Andy's going to ask you, and you can say whatever you want for the most part. You don't have to go on these other interesting shows and start talking about it.
No, especially because
luck.
Yeah, it's tough, man. It's tough. But let's finish this bad boy up because we get West and Ciara finally. And even the way, like, you can tell that he's not good at this.
Yeah.
Admittedly, he's not good at this. He walks up to her room, shirtless, I might add, and goes, "You alone?" Hey, you alone? I didn't even say, "Can I come in?" He just walks in, sits down on her bed.
Yep.
I mean, these are all interesting choices.
Yeah, very interesting. Walking in without a shirt on.
Very
Good
interesting choice. Sitting down on her bed.
Too depressed to get dressed.
That's what it feels like. That's what it feels like right now. And he walks.
This happened to him. That's the vibe that I get to.
And that's where it's tough.
I hate it.
It's
Come
tough.
on, man.
Like, we want to like you.
Yep.
Like you are. Like I said, as a guy's guy, he's phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
Not with women.
Nope.
And he walks in there shirtless, sits down on her bed, doesn't ask if he can come in to have this conversation, but whatever. She's cool with it. They're having this conversation finally. And he leads it off like an idiot. Is this summer going to be fucking awful? I don't know, dude. Is it?
He thinks it's like a mutual thing. Like,
is it going to be awful?
We have to go through this together.
No,
like, no.
You
dude.
tell us, West. Is this summer going to be fucking awful?
God,
or are you going to figure this out, man?
Lack of awareness of just thinking, like, is this summer going to be awful? Well, are you going to act like this the whole summer? Then you have your answer.
Yeah.
You can take matters into your own hands right now.
Literally right
Take responsibility, take accountability, whatever you want to say, and move on.
Yeah.
And you can be okay. It's not that scary.
But the first thing she says is like, dude, every time that anything happens, you don't talk. You don't say anything. You're silent the whole entire time. And he's like, what? Fuck. Now that I'm reading it back, I'm like, dude.
It is really funny.
Fuck. I thought we had closure. Yeah, dude. You did. You totally did. And then you did an article with the New York Times and you went on the Vile Files and you did all of these other things. You did have closure. Yeah. You could have walked away, but you went on the defensive against somebody that wasn't railroading you. She was being quiet because she was sad.
I don't know why everybody's so mad at me in the comments. It's her fault.
Yeah.
That's what the vibe was.
The vibe. Yeah. And it's like, dude.
What are you doing?
I know. And she's like, you sounded like an idiot at the reunion and we could have left it at the reunion. And then he did the press tour. And I love the way that she phrases this. She's like, you care more about the general public's opinion of you than my opinion of you, than the other people in this house's opinion of you. You got caught up in the moment. You got worried about your image and you started to focus on that rather than friendships. And I was like, that's a really good way to put it. And maybe that's what he needs to hear to get through this whole thing. And finally he goes, I fucked up. I apologize for saying things that hurt you. And I'm not trying to hurt you. I would never try to do that. I'm like, I believe you. I believe that you believe that. I don't believe that you understand that your actions led to that.
Yeah.
I don't think you want to hurt her.
I think he wants the easy way out.
I mean, yeah, he wants to.
That's why he stays quiet. He just takes it. He just gets berated.
And he's like, this will go over.
This is my penance.
And it'll blow over.
I'm allowing somebody to go after me. And by not talking back, it'll go over faster.
Yes.
He just wants it to be easy.
But you have to address it because we're grown-ups now. People talk, and you're on a show that is literally surrounded by a fan base that I'll lump us in. All we do is talk about this.
And also, things have died down a little bit. Now the show is here. This is your opportunity to get back into the good graces of
clear the air.
Not just ignore it and act like it's going to be okay, because it's not.
Air. Just clear the air.
Yep.
Just get through this one conversation well. And he's like, she says to him, it doesn't have to be like this all summer. All right. And I think that she says in a confession, like, I think because they were so close, they were friends first, made this whole thing a lot harder. And I was like, yeah, that's definitely part of it. And she's definitely conceding a little bit just to move it along. And I think that she's also recognizing, like, this is probably the best you're going to get from him. I don't know if he's capable of giving you much more.
Yeah. And like, I don't think that Ciara really has it in her to hold the grudge.
I don't think she wants to.
She doesn't want to.
No.
She also wants to have a good summer. She doesn't want to see you moping around the house the entire summer.
No. So when it all shakes out, I did laugh because it was an old school line. All right, see you out there. Good talk. See you out there.
Talk. See you out there.
All right, champ. See you in the second half. And like he heads out the room and everything's potentially capable of moving forward. Time will tell. But yeah, it was a good episode.
It was.
It was a good episode. We're off to a good start, especially because we said this last week. If they can get this shit out of the way early and we can focus on a fun summer and watch Jesse get himself into some trouble, I'm down for that.
Yep.
Let's get to some questions.
First one up here from Cara Miriam Woods. I feel like there will be a drunken hate makeout between Ciara and West at some point.
Quite possibly.
Quite possibly. I would not doubt that at all.
And you know what? That's totally fine.
From Rachel Ray.
Really?
No, it's not Rachel. Why is Gabby here? And how rude of her to talk about Carl like that.
Thank you.
I don't know why Gabby's there.
It was bizarre.
I don't know why Sam isn't there instead of Gabby.
Now I'm questioning. Now I'm questioning.
Yeah, I don't like
justice for Sam always. Sam was a great addition to this show. I don't understand why she got whacked.
From Lupia Nick, do we hate Jesse? I loved him. He's giving so much cringe. What the
Jesse?
Fuck? It's not hate, but like he is cringy as shit right now. I don't care.
Oh yeah, super.
I love Jesse, but like I don't care for what he's doing right now.
No, but I love Jesse Solomon.
Yeah, I do love Jesse Solomon. I just want him to get back to
what with Jesse Solomon. I need that guy back.
Yeah, well, that guy is there, and he gets hitched within 24 hours.
Not Giggles McGillicuddy.
Yeah, I don't know about that. If you could only keep one in the show, this is from Liv Bender. If you could only leave one in the show, and you have to choose, Carl or Lindsay?
First and foremost, you can't make us do shit.
Yeah.
Second,
Lindsay.
Probably Lindsay, but also I think that my answer hinges on this season because we don't have a whole lot to go off of the last 2 years because they've been together and that's been a disaster to watch.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think that I will reserve my answer for the end of this season. Then I will answer.
Yeah.
But give me till the end of the season.
This is a fun question from Eden Jersey. How would you approach joining the house? How would it compare to the former newbies? I would go into it looking to have fun and go out and have more fun and not get hitched.
Yeah, Shooter would be fun to watch on this show. Yeah. It depends on which Steel you're getting. Steel now is very different from 21-year-old Steel. 21-year-old Steel would have been.
You'll be getting up at 8 a.m. for Barry's.
Yes, I would be with Carl going to Barry's at 8. But if this was like 14 years ago,
yeah.
If you put me and Shooter on the show 14 years ago, we might burn the fucking house down, to be honest with you. You think these guys party?
19 years old, though?
21. What was that, 13
20,
years ago?
13.
So 13 years ago, we, oof. I'm going to say oof.
Big oof.
How about oof?
Big oof.
You'd see a lot. You know what you would see? A lot of us coming home at like 9:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
Like every day.
Yeah, pretty much every day.
And by the way, walking in, grabbing a beer out of the fridge, and we'd keep going.
Yeah. From Pat Kearns. Did West deserve to talk in private when he was the one talking to the New York Times?
No.
Nope. Air it out. From Fire Dragon 7676
Sick
76.
fucking name. That's the coolest name ever.
Why are the men so creepy this year?
Yeah,
it is a weird vibe right
that's
now.
A good call. There's a strange vibe.
Yeah.
And we don't care for it either. We called it out. Yeah, I don't know. Let's move on from that, guys. Let's be fun. And you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, it might get creepier at the party.
Yeah, I agree
the
with that.
flirting might be creepy.
Yeah, and
Keep that in my head. Is that Fire Dragon?
Fire Dragon, yeah.
Damn it, Fire Dragon.
Last one here from Amanda Grace, 1129. How soon are we going to be annoyed by Lexi? If this keeps happening with just Jesse, I'm annoyed at Jesse and Lexi.
Yeah, I'm irritated with the both.
I don't think I'm going to single either of them out.
No, let's lump them together. We'll lump them together. And the answer is the beginning of this episode.
Correct. Yes, that is when it started, and hopefully it gets better.
I already know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
He's going to make out with somebody else, and it's going to be a fucking disaster, and it's probably going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, I love it.
Because we're all sick motherfuckers, and we love the drama, especially on this show.
Yeah.
Just not married, like, fiancé drama.
Yeah, I don't want to, real cheating.
No. The single stupid stuff is fun. That's funny.
Yeah.
You guys get it.
Yeah,
you guys are cool.
They get it.
Man. You got anything else?
Nope.
Well, that's our show. Bros gotta go.